Hi everyone, a big warm welcome to my favorite episode of the week. Wednesday's Altcoin Bible Day, where I check out 3 cryptos, a danger zone, a cherry ripe, and a one to watch. Particularly excited about today. We're going to cover a few different cryptos for different reasons. And if you look at the cryptos I have, you might be able to guess which is the danger zone, which is the cherry ripe, and which is the one to watch already. One is a narrative violation, which I'm pretty keen to talk about that in a sec. Firstly, though, what I want to just cover off quickly is markets are very much in a holding pattern as we wait for the Federal Reserve interest rate decision coming down. I think it's next Wednesday, the 14th in the United States. It might be overnight, so technically it might be the Thursday. But markets, again, are a bit of a holding pattern. We're also watching the S&P 500. So that is the top 500 tech stocks in the United States and also the NASDAQ. We're seeing that is trying to break out into a new trend, but really we're just seeing the market chop around a hell of a lot at resistance above. So it's going to really play with people's emotions. It's designed to wreck as many people as possible. So we're seeing as soon as we make a bit of a green move, so a positive move higher, crypto's moving higher as well, then the S&P pulls back, then crypto has a bit of a pullback. So really it's a tight tussle around the 17,000 mark with Bitcoin, but we are seeing finally some relative strength in Bitcoin and in some cryptos that are just trying to move higher. We know that the crypto market is lagging a lot of these risk asset classes like the S&P 500, like the NASDAQ. We're also seeing gold break out. So there's a tremendous amount of nuance, which I won't go into depth here. It's probably more for our advanced clients. But overall, holding pattern, but there is money to be made in this market at any given point if you know what to look for. So I'm going to crack in straight away. I just wanted to give you a high-level overview of what is going on, because the action on the ground can change very quickly, and the sand beneath our feet can really change a lot of these setups. So I wanted to just highlight that. All right, Litecoin. So I haven't got a great deal on this chart, but I just wanted to show you. So since the low down here in November, 9th of November, Litecoin has just been in this beautiful higher low, higher high trend. And what I mean by that, I'm going to draw on the chart and show you. So get the little highlighter out here. So here's a low. Here's, let's say, a higher low, another higher low, higher low, higher low. So building really, really nicely into this upwards channel. I think Litecoin was my cherry ripe last week, because it was maybe my one to watch the week before. So very clearly there's been strength throughout the week. So you can almost have a look, go back to the altcoin Bibles I've done previously and check out cryptos that are showing these strength, or ones that I'm mentioning, because it likely means that they're actually looking rather good and are building towards something. Now as well, Litecoin over here has been building these higher highs. So you see a high here, another high over here. This high over here is higher than the last. What you really want to see now is Litecoin move to the next pillar, which is around about that $95, $100 level. And I think it does have the gas to get there, just based on what it's showing me. The RSI doesn't look too bad. You get a little bit concerned if Litecoin has made this second peak up here, and you can see this momentum is significantly lower. That does make me nervous, which is a bearish divergence. However, the strength of Litecoin recently and the fact that there is really little volume on the right-hand side gives me a bit of pause, thinking that this still has legs, and how it's just come back to the 0.236 here on top of this volume profile. It hasn't lost it, hasn't broken down from this volume over here. I'll just bring that across. It tells me that, there could absolutely be a pullback here, maybe to, let's say, to this horizontal support here, just below this volume profile, just to freak a few people out, $74. I think Litecoin kind of wants to do something like that and move a little bit higher. So there's definitely something at play here. There's a big buyer in the space that wants to push this higher. You could also have a look at on-balance volume, which I'm going to just quickly bring up, which just essentially tells you the volume on exchanges. Yeah, so we're seeing a reasonably positive trend, just moving up. The volume on exchanges is growing. Volume is good. Doesn't matter if it's buying or selling. Essentially, there's a buyer for every seller and a seller for every buyer anyway. It doesn't really matter. What you want to see is that volume growing as the trend is moving higher. This could also be the end of the trend as well. So while this is my cherry ripe, I just wanted to show you, because this has had a tremendous run, but it also could, peter out here and finally break down. But you really have to watch these support levels. But for me, if Bitcoin especially starts to make a move towards that $17,500 level, I think Litecoin can move up that final last little bit, 16,000. And then I think it really has to cool off, because we're seeing momentum just slowly trail off. However, this chart looks really, really nice to move higher. Okay, I want to move quickly just on to BNB, because I really like what's happening here. I like the one to watch phase here on BNB. And why that is, well, this pattern here I really, really like, especially when something is trying to move up, or you can just spot a bit of a trend growing. So very clearly BNB has been in this range. You can see here the floor was about $259. to the top here at about 336. Did breach a little bit higher where we had BNB, potentially becoming the monopoly retail exchange. Probably already is, but when FTX went bust, CZ came out, so the head of Binance, and just said they were going to buy, FTX. And then that's when we saw that really go through the roof. I mean, I was a buyer at this point too. I was speculating that the BNB coin is going to be worth a heck of a lot more. I think this is going to be worth a heck of a lot more in the future as long as Binance stays, rigid and really goes hard on the transparency angle. I digress. What I really like here is as we've fallen back to the bottom of the channel, very clear fake out here, then the bulls really reclaimed this hard. And you can see it was up 26% from that lows. And now we're seeing this really nice consolidation, this pullback back towards the 38% retracement level. You see bang, 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 really holding this quite well. And this pattern here, the falling wedge, love to see it. If you want to see, say, a continuation or the formation of a new trend, really, really like that. So what we want to see here is a bit of a break through this top line here and a move higher. Also for buyers, you're looking here, you're seeing it just rest beautifully on the 21. So that gives me a lot of confidence. That's the 21 daily moving average. There is a bit of thought that this could pull back, and I wouldn't mind seeing it, to be honest. This could just move back down to the 200 daily moving average. It's absolutely on the cards at about 3%. Decent volume in these areas as well. So this should get sticky the lower it goes, which is nice. But I do foresee that this should make a run towards the top of this range if it has a bit of bullish momentum behind it. So also the RSI doesn't look too bad, just going sideways, so I don't mind that at all. Now, the key for me is once it gets above this area, so 300 is a key point in this token's price action. It gets above it, there's a volume gap here. So a gulp of oxygen, it should move very, very quickly, another 13%. If it breaks above here, you really want to see this type of price action. If you miss BNB, you want to wait for, I guess, confirmation of the breakout trade. You don't really want to FOMO in as it's roaring through this area. You want to wait for the shorters and the sellers to come in and wait for the retest of horizontal support over here on top of this volume profile. Once it does that, that's confirmed as now resistance flip support, and this should, after that point, move higher because there is a bit of a gap of volume up here. Might get a bit sticky at 330. Then you have to look at some of these prior peaks, but really this horizontal should be a target 336. And then you can start to look a bit higher. But for me, BNB, it's got a lot of things going for it. It's got the fundamental situation really clued in, and it's got the monopoly on the retail space. So people are trusting Binance right now a lot more than anything else. And you can understand that CZ is really pushing hard for that transparency angle. But again, as we spoke with our advanced clients the other day, it doesn't matter who's showing you proof of reserves. In essence, it gives you a bit of confidence knowing that they have essentially, if you have Bitcoin on exchange and they show you their reserves showing that they have one Bitcoin against what you should own there, against your keys, then that gives you a little bit of confidence. And you don't want to see an exchange having, like FTX, having an abundance of FTT token, which is a liquid, crypto that just, when there was a bank run, it just flew under, the exchange went under. What you really want to see is the liabilities of the exchange. And right now, you're not seeing that. That means any loans or where there might be under stress outside. Where have they, for instance, do they have a loan? Do they have a loan with Silvergate Bank, which might be going under in the US? Do they have extensions in a yield protocol? You just don't know. These are mitigating factors outside of the exchange that could really affect whether they remain solvent, etc. So exchanges need to get better at this. They need to get more transparent. In the United States, they're getting far, far better, especially inside the regulation sphere. But Binance still outside the US. They do have a US arm, but outside, that's where the volumes of trading is done. So again, we want to see more trust and transparency, but Binance for now looks pretty good as that play. All right, let's get on to Dogecoin. Pretty interested to share this with you because this is my danger zone. Why I bring this up as well is there's a bit of a narrative violation. So, and that spelled violation, I know that wrong for anyone watching. On Twitter, so we've been following Dogecoin and Shiba Inu quite specifically over the last few weeks to months because Elon Musk bought Twitter. He also released screenshots of Twitter 2.0, the Everything app, also with functionality for private DMs and also payments. We know Elon Musk is a huge Dogecoin a huge proponent of Dogecoin. He also owns Bitcoin on Tesla's balance sheet, so he's a big fan of cryptocurrency. So the speculation is at some point there's going to be a Dogecoin integration or Shiba Inu integration I'm not sure about Shiba Inu, but if Dogecoin runs, Shiba Inu is like a leverage play on Dogecoin. Shiba Inu should follow Dogecoin in a small manner, but the returns you get on Shiba would be much larger than Dogecoin simply because of market cap. So that is interesting in itself. But if we look here at the Dogecoin chart, I don't really like where this sits because Twitter came out the other day, an insider started tweeting some things about the new payment systems. And the theory is, or what was released, was that Twitter will release their own Twitter coin. So whether Dogecoin or Bitcoin's integrated in that, I'm not sure. They already allow Lightning payments through Bitcoin on Twitter as well as Ethereum as well, and NFTs. But if they're going down the route of creating their own centralized currency, it makes a ton of sense for Twitter. Instead of relying on Dogecoin, which is proof of work, you could suffer 51% attack. Excuse me, an attack on the network outside of Twitter's control, causes a massive controversy. Companies want control of the currency that's been used on their platform to avoid any outside counterparties or third-party risks. So that is a huge thing. That is a narrative violation. Everyone was starting to speculate that Dogecoin and maybe Shiba and other cryptos would get further integration with Twitter. That right now seems like it may not happen. So we should see a sell-off in Dogecoin. And I'm looking at it right here and it makes a ton of sense. Made the high over here, Fibonacci retrace. We come back to the 0.618. Now, losing where it is now, well, it hasn't lost, but it's really grappling with it. But it looks like it might lose that 10-cent level. Get below that, and I really think we have a chance that Dogecoin comes back to 90 cents. And then you can look at the 0.786, which is around about 80 cents as well. The issue for me is there's not a lot of volume where it is now. I don't think there'd be a lot of buyers here if suddenly that Twitter narrative is suddenly gone. So these are the things you need to pay attention to. And this, to me, just looks like two peaks, and it's getting weaker. So you see here the main peak over here, very high on the RSI, 92, almost you could say overbought. And then over here, this second peak is much, much weaker. So very clear to me that, momentum is trailing off. We're just seeing a gradual weakness lower. For me, the volume on the right-hand side looks like it wants to drop down to this next level. So 90 cents looks pretty obvious to me as where this price action is going. Also confident with that 21. That's why I've got that buy price there. If you're looking to accumulate Doge, that area looks pretty tasty to me. But I would not write off that this goes back to maybe the 200 daily moving average at, maybe at worst. Can't really see it going much lower than that just based on these volume pockets. And 0.786 also looks juicy as well at 80 cents. So that for me is my danger zone Dogecoin. So by extension, that would mean Shiba Inu should get a little bit of a hit as well. So shorts will be very, very happy if that happens. All right, guys, hope you've enjoyed this episode. Have a wonderful week, and we'll catch you again next time. Ta.